a lot of shows set in cities. The Simpsons is set in Springfield, which is charmingly no city in particular. King of the Hill is set in Arlen, Texas, a beautifully observed suburb. Doug is set in Bluffington. Rugrats takes place mostly inside one house. And then there's Arnold City, which is technically called Hillwood, Washington, which is never actually said out loud on the show, not even once. The name lives in supplementary material, interviews, the wiki, the eventual Jungle Movie press kit. Eagle-eyed viewers can spot it written in the background across episodes, on signs, on buses, on storefronts, but nobody ever says it. The show treats the city like the city, just the city. It's yours, whichever one you grew up watching from. And here's the thing, that barely named city has 100 named streets, and a corner pharmacy that's named, and a butcher's that's named, and a Slouson's, and a Mighty Pete, and a Gerald Field, and a cheese festival, and a bus route the fans have actually mapped because it is that consistent. Craig Bartlett built a city, not a setting, a city with history, with neighborhoods, with weather, with sound, with a layered immigrant population, with class strata that change block by block. He built it on purpose, and it is, and I am putting this on the record, the best world building in any animated television series of the last 40 years. I'm gonna give you 8 reasons today, 8 specific things to look for the next time you watch Hey Arnold. By the end of this video, you're gonna want to rewatch the show, and I want that because most of this you missed the first time, and that's not on you, that's on Bartlett. He hid this stuff in the background. Sneaky little scamp. But that's the point. That was deliberate. Bartlett has said in interviews, and this is verbatim, that it's a northern city with a little bit of Seattle, a little bit of Portland, and a little bit of Brooklyn. There's certain aspects of New York that made it in, for one, the Stoops. But whenever we needed a big city feature, we usually borrowed from New York. There's a copy of the Brooklyn Bridge, and we even showed the Twin Towers. We also used Chicago's Wrigley Field for a couple baseball episodes, but called it Quigley Field. That's 4 cities, by the way. Seattle, his hometown, Portland, where he went to art school at the Museum Art, Brooklyn, the Stoops, the Brownstones, the subway, the Brooklyn Bridge. He even put a copy of the Twin Towers in the skyline, and Chicago, where he borrowed Wrigley Field, slapped a new name on it, and dropped it into a neighborhood as Quigley Field. We'll come back to that in 1 second. And during production, Bartlett traveled to Seattle, Portland, and Tacoma and took black and white photos of old buildings, Pioneer Square, the Victorian houses, brick warehouses, for the show's artists to use as direct reference. He didn't make this up. He went outside and photographed it. And here's the point. By refusing a single real city anchor, Bartlett made the city universal. Any kid in any American city could see their own city within it. Seattle kids saw the Gray. Brooklyn kids saw the Brownstones. I grew up in New York, and literally until this video was recorded, I always assumed that it was based in New York. When I watched the show, I feel like it was filmed down the street from me. That's not laziness, that's craft. It's the only city in animated TV that's every northern city at once, and somehow more specific for it and not less. Now, look at the boarding house. Really, really look at it. Boarding house, Sunset Arms. It's not a sitcom set. It's a functioning small apartment building. 4040 Vine Street. That address is canon. The wiki has it. The show has it. Somebody decided what street it was on like a real building. Each tenant has a room. Not a chunk of soundstage, an actual room. The rooms have different layouts, different decor, reflecting the tenant's history and personality. Different doors. Mr. Wynn's room has the kitchen smells and the photo of Mai. Oscar's room has the racing forms and the gambling debts. Ernie's room has, and I am not making this up, a small piece of every building he ever knocked down, because that's his job. He's a demolition guy. He runs a wrecking crane. He's knocked down over 500 buildings in Hillwood, and he keeps a souvenir from every single one. That is a piece of character interiority you'd kill for in a prestige drama. A man whose job is destruction, who lives with the proof of every act of destruction he's been a part of, literally on his bedroom shelf. And this is a kid's cartoon side character. The shared spaces are also characterized. The kitchen has Phil's tools and Pookie's miscellaneous stuff. The stoop is Pookie's domain. The hallway has accumulated stuff that looks like it's been there for 30 years. The boarding house has plumbing problems that show up across multiple episodes, and that's continuity that nobody asked for. That's the team treating the building like an actual building that needs an actual super. This isn't set dressing. This is building dressing. The boarding house is a texture of real place because Bartlett's team treated it like one. Every prop, every door, every angle was decided once and then respected forever.
I do have a last name. It's...
And then there's the people who live there. This is where the show stops being a kid's show, technically. Mr. Win, by the way, which is pronounced Win, if you couldn't tell by the way I've been saying it, is a deliberate misspelling of the Vietnamese surname Win. He's a Vietnamese refugee. And in the episode Arnold's Christmas, which aired on December 11th of 1996, we learn his backstory. He fled Saigon in 1975, during the fall. And at the US Embassy, with one of the last helicopters about to leave, with limited transport and no room for both of them, he handed his infant daughter Mai to an American soldier so she could get on the helicopter without him. Because that was the only way he could be sure that she would live.
I knew if I gave Mai to the soldier, they would take care of her. As the helicopter left, the soldier called out the name of a city.
20 years later, he comes to the States, finds his way to Hillwood, and Arnold reunites them on Christmas Eve in a kid's cartoon in 1996. I'm getting choked up talking about it. That episode broke a generation of Asian American kids open.
Can't believe it.
It was, for a lot of viewers, the first time their family's history was treated as worth telling on mainstream American television. Not Vietnam as backdrop. Vietnam is an actual thing, an actual place. And the writer who came up with it, Steve Vixton, passed away in 2014. And this is worth a moment because that beat was his. And here's the thing. Win is one tenant. Oskar Kokoschka, named after the Australian expressionist painter Oskar Kokoschka, a reformed-ish gambler, lazy, lovable, perpetually a slow project the boarding house keeps trying to redeem. Ernie Potts. Short-statured, hot-headed, the demolition expert, lived at Sunset Arms since before Arnold was even born. Grandpa Philip Shortman, Arnold's grandfather, World War II veteran. In the episode Veterans Day, we learn he was a private who claims to have single-handedly won the Battle of the Bulge by tricking a German company into eating spoiled cans of Cham. It's a Spam parody, by the way, if you didn't know that. And the punchline is, Arnold doesn't believe him until Phil shows him a small monument to himself hidden in a Washington, D.C. park.
That's you.
Of course it is. It's my monument.
It's just like in your story.
Pookie, Gertie Shortman, Arnold's grandmother, former librarian, former police officer. Yes, really. Bizarre, mythic, often the emotional anchor of an entire episode. Bartlett made a kid's show where a Vietnamese refugee lives with a Czech gambler, a short-statured demolition expert, a former librarian/cop, and a World War II veteran, and he never made a single episode about that fact. The default texture of the show is that everybody has a real backstory, often involving trauma, often involving displacement, and the show simply treats this as the baseline, not as a very special episode topic. That, by the way, is Respect. Most prestige TV doesn't do that well. This is a kids show on Nickelodeon.
We'll be right back to Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon.
And the crazy thing is, the neighborhood economy is real. Walk out the boarding house door. Now look at the block. There are named businesses on Arnold's block, and they are not just background props. Green Meats, not Mr. Green's Butcher Shop, that's what you'd remember it as, but the canonical name of the storefront is Green Meats. It's run by Marty Green, Mr. Green to Arnold. He's a reoccurring character. He has his own episode, Mr. Green Runs, where he runs for city council on a Fill the Potholes platform after Grandpa Packard drops into one outside the shop. Read that last sentence again. The neighborhood butcher has a political campaign episode. He wins, he becomes the local councilman because the show treats him as an actual person who actually lives there. Slouson's ice cream parlor, Mr. Slauson, has a name and a personality. The corner pharmacy, named on signage even in establishing shots where nobody visits it. Quigley Field, which, as Bartlett confirmed in the quote at the top of this video, is Wrigley Field with the serial numbers filed off. A Chicago Cubs stadium reference, sitting in a Pacific Northwest meets Brooklyn City, treated like it's been there for 90 years. Because in Hillwood, it has been the point. The neighborhood has a small business ecosystem that recurs episode to episode. When Arnold runs an errand, he's running it to a place we've seen before. The continuity is almost unheard of in a 90s animated TV outside of King of the Hill. Most cartoon towns have one establishing shot facade for the store. Arnold City has a block, and the block has zoning, which is insane. Now, this is the one that broke me when I noticed it. The bus route apparently works. Arnold takes the bus a lot of episodes. The buses have route numbers, destinations, stop sequences, and the route logic mapped against the show's geography is consistent. It's consistent enough that fans have actually drawn city maps based on episode to episode bus geography. The animators clearly worked from a master map, and for the long time, that was just an inference. Fans drew their own maps. Wikis cataloged the geography. Theory threads went deep on it. But there was no creator-confirmed document. The team's internal city map, if it even existed, was studio internal. That is, until November of 2024, when Craig Bartlett posted the actual map of Hillwood, hand-drawn, labeled, named streets, the boarding house, PS 118, Gerald Field, Quigley Field, the whole grid on his Instagram for everyone to see. 28 years after the show premiered, the city map walks into the room and it lines up with the bus routes, with the episode geography, with the fan maps that fans had been making for decades. The fans were right. The animators were right. Bartlett was working from a real drawn-out map the entire time. Now, I'm not asking Steven Universe to do this. I'm not asking Adventure Time to do this. I'm asking literally any other animated show to do this. Bartlett did it on a kid's show in 1996 with a fraction of the budget. I mean, make it make sense, modern animation. We gotta step it up, okay? I'm just messing with you, but it would be cool to see. That's the only jab in this video, by the way. We're back to the love letter. Close your eyes for the next 5 to 10 seconds. I'm gonna play you the city. The score. Jim Lang is jazz forward, piano led, channeling Gershwin, Monk, Wes Montgomery, Stan Getz. Lang has said himself that he was channeling the composers and players he grew up loving. And for a lot of kids who watched this show in the 90s, Hey Arnold was their first introduction to jazz. I know it was for me. That's a sentence I really want you to sit with. A 1996 Nickelodeon cartoon score gave a generation of kids their first taste of jazz. Not Sesame Street, not Schoolhouse Rock. A weekday afternoon cartoon for 9-year-olds, and then underneath the score, the ambient design. Hey Arnold mixes city ambient into nearly every interior scene. Distant traffic, distant sirens, distant TV through walls, the elevated train rumbling past the back of the mix. The score and ambient design do more world building than the writing does, and the writing is also doing a lot of world building. Bartlett got 2 layers of city onto the screen at once. Most shows can't even land one of them. And the kids know this city. The kids have internal city geography. Arnold and his friends move through the city like natives. They take shortcuts. They know which corner stores are friendly. They know which alleys to avoid and which rooftops you can access. They have a working spatial map of the city that is layered over the adult spatial map. The most famous example, Gerald Field. A vacant lot the kids cleaned up themselves so they had a place to play baseball. Located on Vine Street, a couple blocks from Quigley Field. First introduced in the vacant lot. It's used mainly by the 4th graders. It recurs across the series. It has its own foul territory rules. And then there's Mighty Pete, the tree. Per Grandma Gertie, and I quote, a 700-year-old tree. Yes, on a kid's cartoon, the lore on the neighborhood tree is that it's older than every European city most Americans have ever heard of. And in the episode Save the Tree, Helga's dad, Big Bob, announces he's bulldozing it to build a beeper center. The kids organize. They occupy the tree and they actually win. Read that plot summary again. A 700-year-old tree occupied by 4th graders against a corporate development project on a 1997 Nickelodeon cartoon. I cannot stress this enough. Kids in Hey Arnold live in the same city as adults, but they see a different one. The adults' map is named streets and businesses and bus routes. The kids' map is vacant lots, rooftops, and a tree that's older than Western civilization. Bartlett knew the two maps don't overlap. He drew both. He let them sit on top of one another.
This is my shirt, not a skirt. Yes, I almost never take my hat off.
And finally, the thing that nobody seems to talk about for some reason, the seasons, the weather, and the world in motion. Hey Arnold has weather. Not weather as a plot device, weather as a feature of the city. Snow episodes happen, rain episodes happen, heat wave episodes happen, seasons are visible. The trees on the streets leaf out and go bare on a schedule. And the snow looks like snow. It piles, it has weight, it has shadows. Most animated snow looks like crumpled paper. Bartlett's snow looks like a foot of accumulated Pacific Northwest wet. The Christmas episode, the same Arnold's Christmas where Mr. Wynn and Mai reunite, has snow rendered with real weight. The whole emotional beat of the episode depends on the city physically feeling like winter, and it does. I want to be honest about one thing though. The kids don't actually age. You'll see fan theories that imply Arnold and the gang move through grades over the course of the series, and Bartlett has implied at various points that there's a chronological order, but the official line is that every episode of Hey Arnold takes place in roughly the same year. Most cartoons of this era used Simpsons-style frozen time. Hey Arnold kind of did too, with more weather. It's a city that you can feel the seasons in a city that exists in time. Most animated cities are frozen. Arnold's city moves through the year after year, and the show is better for it.
We'll be right back to Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon.
And here's the thing. This is one of the most photographed shots in the entire series. The opening credits use it, promos use it, the Jungle Movie 2017 used it in posters, wallpapers of this shot exist all over the internet. And everything we've talked about today is in this one frame. A city that's recognizable but barely named, the composite architecture, the boarding house we're standing on, the building we just walked through, a neighborhood with real businesses, the signage in the middle distance, the bus route, the street running across the frame, implied tenant lives, the lit windows, the sound design, the elevated train and the audio, the kid's eye view. We're on the rooftop because Arnold goes up there, and the weather, the light, the color of the sky, the season, bunch of observations in one frame. Bartlett didn't just build a city, he built a city you can see all at once in a single shot if you know where to look. So here's the homework. Pick any episode at all. Pause any establishing shot. Look at the windows. Look at the signs. Look at who is on the street. Listen to that train in the distance. Notice what season it is. And then ask yourself why no kids show that came after bothered to do this. Bartlett didn't make a cartoon, he made a place. And the place is the best place in animated television. I'll defend that for the rest of my life. Now, look, here's what I keep coming back to. We talk a lot about Hey Arnold's characters, and we should. Helga's monologue and Helga on the couch is one of the best pieces of writing on any cartoon. Bartlett wrote that one himself, by the way. Arnold is the rare cartoon protagonist who's allowed to just be a good kid without being a punchline for it. The whole gang holds up. And we talk about the music, we should. Jim Lang's score is doing the Lord's work on basically every episode. And we talk about the empathy, we should. Bartlett built a kid's show with the moral imagination of a literary novel. But the thing that almost nobody talks about, and the thing I wanted to land for you today, is the place, the city, the block, the boarding house, the street where Mr. Green sells veal chops and Grandpa Packard drops into a pothole and Mighty Pete stands at the corner of a vacant lot the kids cleaned up themselves. That place is animated television's greatest world-building achievement. And we just took it for granted for 30 years. Because Bartlett made it feel ordinary. That's how good he was at his job. He made the most carefully built fictional city in the history of American animation feel like the place you grew up in. So go rewatch some episodes. I'll put a watch list in the description. Start with Arnold's Christmas, then Save the Tree, then Helga on the couch, then the opening credits. Go frame by frame. This is homework. And also drop your favorite background in the frame moment from the show in the comments. The detail you noticed that nobody else did, I want to see what you saw. That's how we keep this stuff alive. If you haven't seen the Jungle movie, go fix that. 2017, Bartlett returning to the world after 13 years off. It earned the city it inherited. I'll talk about it some other time. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope if maybe you haven't watched Hey Arnold in a while, maybe this motivates you to go check it out. Maybe it motivates you to just pay more attention to the background of some of these shows, because these really are art pieces built by hundreds of people. And I feel like so many small little details get taken for granted. I do it. I know I definitely used to do it. I'm trying to be better at it. And I hope that these videos motivate even a few of you to do the same. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Click one of these videos. YouTube thinks you'll like it.